as well, and they got to.
You're watching Safe, Shipped in Parts, assembled by who knows who in the back room.
Things can go really bad with this one.
Fox 5 uncovers bike assembly blunders Monday at 5.
Rivalry at one time was as good as it would get in the NFC, and we renew it here today in Landover, Maryland. So much on the line. Two teams still with hopes to win the NFC East. Two teams very alive in the wild card chase, hooking up here today, Dallas and Washington. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody.
Sam Huff longs for. Good luck.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Herman.
Antonio Brown, he should have won it last week. We ought to give it to him because he did it. He did what we wanted.
But it's got to be when we say. It can't just be any kickoff return.
Why not? How often does it happen?
I want it to be the first one.
I'd love to give away that $30,000 shopping spree.
I'd like to join him.
I know.
That's what I want.
I want him to run the opening kickoff back.
I'll take 15,000 of it, and give him 15,000.
A little bit of wind coming from the end zone to our right.
Yeah, that's not enough to worry about.
Now a little gust. I don't think the wind's not going to be a factor.
All right, let's get it going. I'm ready. This is exciting, isn't it?
Do that again.
Here we go.
Who is that?
Is that Sonny?
That's Sonny.
I thought it was Sonny.
That sounds like a trailer truck coming, doesn't it?
Billy Cundiff is a kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. Antonio Brown and Jimmy Ferris deep to receive the kickoff.
I've been waiting for this one. Where's Antonio, my guy from West Virginia?
There we go.
He's all fired up.
He is fired up.
I don't think he's going to be blowing any kisses if he takes this one back, though.
I hope he does. He can blow all he wants to.
You got to run right past the Dallas bench.
Boy, you can definitely feel the tension here in the stadium. Playoff atmosphere for the Redskins.
They need big plays on special teams.
You think Dallas is not thinking about Antonio Brown the way he ran that ball
absolutely.
back?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Also, Betts. Again, Betts has had one, too.
8 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams has been within 7 points. It should be tight.
Here we go.
Ball is teed up, and this one is underway. It's a wobbly kick picked by Mike Sellers at the 25 to the 30. Already to the 35, still on his feet, and the Redskins will have fine field position at their 35-yard line. They were scared of the little guy.
They didn't kick it to him.
That's right. I think they tried to do that, man. They didn't kick it to him.
For the Redskins, with their first possession here, they have scored on their first possession just one time in 13 games this year. First and 10 at their own 35. And do you try a trick play early here, Sonny? Maybe a flea flicker or something?
No, here comes Clinton Portis. You know that.
I think he runs play action.
Portis, a lone setback, double tight end formation. Santana Moss, the lone wide receiver. He's to the right. Now Chris Cooley in motion, and it's a handoff to Portis on the right side. Good push there. Gets 4 yards on first down at the 39.
Sam was right. They get right up the middle. And that's what they need to do.
Scott Shanley with the stop. That final push in the game last week against Arizona. I mean, they had that pile moving. They'd like to see that today.
Well, that's what you got to do. If you run the ball, you control the clock. If you control the clock, normally you control the game.
2nd and 6 for the Skins at their own 39. Taylor Jacobs in. Wide out to the right. Moss, a slot man on the right side. Now Santana goes in motion to the left. Portis the setback pitch, left side to Portis. Looking for some room, cuts it up, has room. Close to the first down. He's got the first down. Past the 45 to the 46.
That's moving it. 2 plays.
The pitch out, too. They got wide on him.
Tell you, that offensive line found something last game, and they want to flex their muscles this afternoon. Randy Thomas out in front again.
I think when they run left and they can pull Randy Thomas, because he's outstanding.
Well, whenever they can get those guys out in front of the ball carrier, they're all outstanding. They're so big.
Ball at the 46, Redskins 46, 1st and 10 for Washington. Portis the single setback. Taylor Jacobs to the left, handoff right up the middle. It is the flea flicker. Brunell looking to the left, fires, has Jacobs a catch on the sideline, good to the Cowboy 37. Now they're going to say he was out of bounds.
No, he ran out of bounds.
Incomplete. They're going to say he was out of bounds.
No, he was completed. I think the guy marked it there.
Santana Moss had double coverage to the right.
Yes, he did.
It looked like he was in bounds, and then he went out.
Sam, you're 100 yards from the thing. How can you tell from here?
Well, I just said it looked like it.
No,
He
left foot went out.
Only had 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Not worth the challenge right now. The Redskins face a 2nd and 10.
There was no challenge on it. He didn't get both feet down.
He was out of bounds.
Only got 1 down.
Portis in the backfield, pitch right side of Clinton, looking for running room, trying to get around the corner, does the 50, has room to the 45, horse collar from behind, where's the flag? First down into Cowboy territory.
There's no need to throw it when you can run like that.
There you go.
That was a big run. You know, Sonny looked like he got boxed in, but he kicked it into another gear.
He went out and got outside the containment.
Yeah. He can scat.
Ball marked at the Cowboy 39. 1st and 10 Skins.
All running.
Yep.
Broke a tackle attempt by Scott Fujita, who replaced Al Singleton out for the year, along with that win with injuries. 1st and 10 at the Cowboy 39.
There's a big block by Mike Sellers in there.
Cooley in motion, pitch right side, Portis bobbles it, regathers, puts his head down, buries it down to the 35. Heavy doses of Clinton Portis early for the Skins.
That's good. I like it. Now you got Betts coming in.
Redskins face a 2nd and 6.
Marcus Spears, a rookie defensive end, making the tackle on that. But what he's doing is he's going wide. He's going to make them big guys run to get to him. They're going to get tired.
Clinton Portis, 4 carries, 30 yards on that first drive so far. Betts in motion, Santana Moss to the left. 2nd and 6 Skins. Hand off to Betts, trying to sweep right again. Cuts it up, has a little bit of running room. Tripped up at the 32-yard line. And he's going to be about 2.5 yards short of the first down. Scott Fujita on the stop.
Strong side linebacker. He's running right at him. They're going to that side. They're moving the football.
The line's coming off real well right now.
They've got to pick up the first down here and keep the drive going.
It's official. San Diego gives Indianapolis their first loss of the year. We'll get to the scoreboard in a moment. 3rd and 4 for the Redskins at the Cowboy 33. Brunell in the gun. Sends Santana Moss in motion to the left. There's the snap. Brunell looking left. Flush to the left. Still moving. Still rolling. Throws. Has Moss on the sideline. It's a catch for the first down at the 24-yard line.
He held it up first.
You got a flag down.
Flag on the play as well, and we'll have
illegal
to wait.
contact. Or no, maybe they got him for pushing off.
Cowboys applauding the flag. Moss made the catch for a first down.
Could have been pushing off.
Is Moss out of bounds?
Illegal touch of a forward pass.
He's out of bounds.
Number 89 offense stepped out of bounds.
Yep.
He was out of
Came back
bounds.
in bounds and was the first to touch the pass. A 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He stepped out of bounds. The Redskins will have a 3rd down situation. They're 42% on 3rd downs this year.
Mark wants to play. They're not giving him the play.
Get it to him.
Play clock has not started yet.
I know, but he still wants it now.
Yeah, he's got to get in the huddle and get it called.
And the Redskins have a good rhythm here on this first possession.
Very good rhythm. And in the running game, they've really mixed it up well.
What's your call here, though, Coach? 3rd and 9 for the Skins.
Well, you got to throw it here. You got to come out with something here.
Jimmy Ferris in as the 3rd wide receiver. Cooley in, a slot man on the right. Betts is the setback. Brunell in the shotgun on 3rd and 8 at the 37. Brunell gets the snap. Has time, looking over the middle, fires deep out to the left. It is incomplete, intended for Jimmy Ferris. But at the 21-yard line, off his hands, Terrence Newman defending.
Yeah, he floated that one out there. That was a little bit high, and they came down out of bounds.
Shame to come away with nothing here.
See what happens when they start throwing it? They come out, they have to punt now.
Eric Frost into punt. Patrick Creighton stands at his own 10-yard line. See if Frost can pin him deep. He stands at his own 47. Gives it a little pooch. It's a horrible punt off the side of his foot. Gets a lucky roll inside the 20. That's not what you're looking for if you're the Skins.
That's what you call a
He's
shank.
inside of the 20.
That's a shank.
Yeah, pretty good.
It's fair.
Lucky.
Yeah, it was lucky, but he's fair.
A 19-yard punt. Let's give a look at the military order, the Purple Heart scoreboard quickly. Philadelphia has beaten St. Louis 17-16. Pittsburgh over Minnesota 18-3. And San Diego knocks Indianapolis from the ranks of the unbeaten 26-17. The rest of the scores in a minute. Cowboys have it 1st and 10 at their own 18. Patrick Creighton is to the left. To the right, it is Terry Glenn. Fans on their feet. Bledsoe has Julius Jones behind him. Keyshawn Johnson in. Bledsoe, ball deflected. It's in the air. It is intercepted by Cornelius Griffin at the 20-yard line. How about that?
First play.
Boy, I'll tell you what, he came back after that ball.
Good hands by the big man. As Bledsoe's pass was deflected from the front line. I don't know who got a hand on it. It was Philip Daniels. And the big man caught it, Sam.
You got it. Griffin came off that ball. He was with it all the way, wasn't he?
That's a heck of a catch over the shoulder.
Yeah, he was.
Philip Daniels hit it, and Cornelius Griffin, the tackle, makes the interception. You know,
Great field position.
defense can win.
1st and 10 at the 21 of the Cowboys. The game first turnover and the Cowboys' first play. Porter's the lone setback. Double tight end formation for the Skins. Clinton gets the call. Looking left. Big pile up, drives ahead. A gain of a couple. Tough run in that time for Clinton. Rest of the scoreboard. Seattle beat Tennessee 28-24. It was Miami over the Jets 24-20. Jacksonville beat San Francisco 10-9. Houston gets a win, beating Arizona 30-19. And Carolina topped New Orleans 27-10.
I think they got to keep working the ball, running the ball. Don't get impatient.
You got 4 on first down. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Skins. At the Cowboys 17. Cooley breaks off, goes in motion to the right. Brunell play action. Looking, dumps it off. Has Robert Royal inside the 15 down to the 10. He's got a first down.
Little check down off of play action.
Fujita makes the stop, but not after Royal gets down to the 10-yard line.
Mark went through his progressions. He had nothing downfield, and he comes back and takes a check down. Very positive play.
Boy, after that bad day that Robert had, he's come back, hasn't he? And he's caught everything.
Really has.
He didn't like my criticism.
He didn't like dropping the balls either, really.
No one else did.
No. 1st and 10 Skins at the Cowboy 11. So they get a first down inside the 1-yard line, actually. Big tight formation. Cooley in motion to the right. Portis is set back. The pitch right side of Clinton. Has blockers across the 10, but they stack it up at the 8. Well, that's a massive humanity moving to the right that time. Fujita with another stop.
He's some kind of linebacker. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he's around the football, and that's what you like out of a linebacker.
He's going to tire this defense down.
Yeah, to keep running like that. I think he might have made more yardage if he'd have broken it wider, but he cut it back. And who am I to criticize a guy like Clinton Portis?
2nd and 8 at the 8.5-yard line. Portis again, the lone setback. Mike Sellers in motion now. And Brunell back to pass. Looking into the end zone. Fires. Cooley. Touchdown. Touchdown Redskins in the end zone. Chris Cooley's got it for the score.
It was a great catch.
Boy, it was a great catch. Mark threw it outside of him, and he went back for it. He hooked up, threw it to the outside, and he dove for it. Made the catch. Great play.
4th score of the season for Chris Cooley and the Cowboys. Turnover turns into 6 for the Skins.
Got a long way to go. This is a great beginning, though.
Trying to cover Cooley with the defensive end, and that's kind of tough.
Trying to cover him with the defensive back is tough.
The conversion for John Hall, who is a perfect PAT percentage this year. It is good. Scoring drive summary brought to you by DC Lottery and the brand new game DC Daily 6. 4 plays, 21 yards, a touchdown pass. Brunell to Cooley, and the Skins lead it 7-0. This is Redskins Radio.
For 27 years, it's been the greatest time to get a new Toyota, and it's back. Toyota is Redskins Radio.
Welcome back to the GMRI broadcast booth. Larry Michael with Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff. The Skins draw first blood, converting the turnover into a Cooley touchdown reception. They lead 7-0.
How long was the drive, Larry?
21 yards. 4 plays, 21 yards, and the Redskins defense comes up big, and the offense makes them pay.
Another turnover for the defense. Boy, they started that last week, and they're not going to give up, looks like.
You know, they got in Kurt Warner's face early last week. He said that was a big thing last week, getting Warner out of sorts early.
Yeah. Well,
the quarterbacks, you know, after a while they go into a shell when they get a few turnovers.
John Hall has it teed up. Tyson Thompson and Terrence Cooper are deep to receive the kickoff from John Hall. The run up and the kick. Coming down, and Thompson takes it at the 7-yard line, angling to the left, hits the hole hard. Big block on one of the Redskins there. He got obliterated.
Sean Taylor just drilled him and brought him down.
Time out on the field with the score: Redskins 7, Cowboys nothing. Back after these words from Geico. This is Redskins Radio.
And now with weather on the hour, here's meteorologist Jenna Moran.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Video, because they offer great service, design your needs, and treat everyone like an individual. I wish you could see the spectacular home theater system they created for me. Visit one of their 10 convenient store locations in the D.C. area. For locations, log on to myrmco.com.
First and 10 Cowboys at their own 35-yard line. Play action fake. Bledsoe moving to his right, hits his tight end. Tackle is missed by the Redskins, but Sean Taylor's got him, and he's knocked out of bounds.
And a flag.
Is that a late hit, or is it against the Cowboys?
Late hit.
Late flag.
Late flag by Marcus Washington.
No, a little too fired up. The tight end, Jason Witten, on the catch. That was Dan Campbell, excuse me.
15 yards isn't good. That's not what you like.
Well, he was out of bounds, but I mean, how could you tell?
That's a bad hit by Marcus. He was out of bounds. And that's going to be a 15-yarder.
Forward progress was stopped.
But he wasn't
after the whistle. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 53.
How do you expect a linebacker to stop? He was in bounds when he hit him.
No, he had a foot in bounds. You're right. He had a foot in bounds.
He was in bounds when he hit him.
Nonetheless, the mark-off will take the ball to the Redskins 47.
That's a bad call. He was in bounds. I've hit him later than that.
I know that.
Ball at the Redskins 48. First and 10 Cowboys. Terry Glenn is to the right. Keyshawn Johnson is to the left. Julius Jones is set back. He gets the call. Going right. Lamar Marshall brings him down.
Good tackle.
Along with Sean Springs. Nothing doing there. Nothing on that play. Maybe a yard or two.
That's the way, you tackle. He got his head in front, and if it got his head behind him, he could have picked him up and slammed him. But, he took the blow and got his head in front and made the tackle.
That was really some nice defense. The only place you'll find better coverage than that, Sam, is in the Washington Post Sports section. Check it out tomorrow.
Okay. I will.
2 yards on that first down play for Julius Jones.
Yes.
The fullback is Lasaka Polite. He's back there with Jones right now. 2nd and 8.
Just doing a little business.
Bledsoe under center. From the Redskins 46. Straight drop. Has heat on the side. Dumps it off to Jones. The tackle made by Walt Harris right in his tracks. A loss of 2, in fact.
Well, that's good defense.
Well, they went a 2-deep zone. They went a perfect defense for that pass.
Yeah, and they threw it short out in the flat.
Yeah, and he got a man standing there waiting on him.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, they're really moving to the ball.
He got a little heat from the backside from Ronaldo Wynn, and he had to get rid of it.
It was a good tackle.
Nice play by Walt Harris. Brings up a 3rd and 10 for the Cowboys. The Redskins 48. 3 wide in the formation. Marion Barber, the setback. Bledsoe back to pass. A lot of heat. Gets hit. Gets off. He gets it to Keyshawn Johnson for the first down. Oh, they were all over him. All the way down to the Redskins 34.
They came with the blitz. They couldn't knock him down.
Somebody got a piece of him.
Yes, they did.
58 got a piece of him.
Chris Clemens
got a piece of him, but he didn't get enough of him.
Oh, man, they brought 5 guys, and they were all over Bledsoe.
Big play by Bledsoe.
God, somehow he got rid of it.
Washington was in there, too.
First and 10 at the Redskins 34 for the Cowboys. The Skins lead at 7-0. 6:15 to play in the first quarter. Bledsoe gives straight up. Julius Jones has room on the left side. It's tackled, though, by Lamar Marshall after a gain of 3.
Good hit.
Sam, what I was going to tell you earlier,
okay,
the defense has created 9 turnovers in the last 3 games, right?
Yes, that's right.
After recording only 8 in the first 10 games.
I know. I couldn't understand it, but now they're starting, I think, to really recover and feel confident in what they're doing, Sonny.
Redskins with 5 DBs in the game. On 2nd and 6 for the Cowboys, the Redskins 30. Running back is Julius Jones. Bledsoe gives it to Jones. Right up the middle, hit by Joe Salavea and taken down.
Well,
Salavea and Ronaldo win.
They were lucky to get the handoff, to Jones.
And they didn't blitz or anything.
No, they just came straight at him. Big old Joe Salavea. He's a big monster.
He really is. He really is.
He took good to see him back out there.
Yeah, look at he's walking off now. He made a big play. Now they're putting the nickel defense in.
Now Omar Stoudemire in as another DB. Chris Clemens is in a rush end.
You gotta go get him now. You can't miss the sack here. 3rd and long.
3rd and 7. Creighton is a third wide receiver, is a slot man on the right.
And they get.
Redskins have 8 men up on that line of scrimmage. Marion Barber, the setback behind Bledsoe. Your left tackle is moving early. Torrin Tucker.
Yeah.
And you can credit the fans for that one.
Well, because he saw that they didn't have enough people in there. The left tackle did. He did not know who to mark.
Offense number 77.
Now jumping.
They brought Sean Taylor that time, too.
Remains 3rd down.
That's Torrin Tucker.
Yep.
77, the left tackle.
Sean Taylor was coming on the blitz that time.
He comes like a shot, too.
Yeah.
He comes with
He knows how to blitz.
And he comes with the intention of wiping you out.
Ball pushed back to the 36 where it's a 3rd and 12 for the Cowboys.
And the noise is having an effect on the quarterback.
I think so.
Taylor's up on the outside on the line of scrimmage again.
Well, they're bringing everybody now.
Only one man.
Barber in the backfield. Here comes the heat on Bledsoe. He's got time, though. Dumps it over the middle. Has a man. It's Patrick Creighton inside the 20. Makes a tackle inside the 15 to the 11-yard line.
They blocked it well. They didn't get to him on the blitz.
Nope.
They beat Greg Williams that time.
1st and 10 at the Redskins 11.
Where Greg Williams took the gamble and he lost. The defensive coordinator for the Redskins.
Oh, when you come like that all the time,
yeah, you're going to
get burned.
Yep.
Derek Glenn to the left, Keyshawn Johnson to the right. I formation behind Bledsoe at the Redskins 11. Marion Barber's the tailback pitch, right side to Barber. Flag on the play. Has some room inside the 5 into the end zone.
They're going to have a holding call or something.
Flag on the play, though.
Maybe a motion.
Either holding or motion. Motion.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's going to bring that back.
Before the ball was snapped, false start. Offense number 73. 5-yard
Allen.
It remains 1st down.
Left guard.
We talk about the noise being credited for that. How much of a factor is this crowd on a situation like that?
Oh, it affects you. It really does, because those offensive linemen get a little jumpy.
And they can't, they can't hear.
They can't turn their head to see the ball right in front of them because he's a left guard. All he's got to do is turn his head and look at the ball.
So you got a motion penalty against the left tackle and now the left guard.
Right.
Yep. He pulled out early. 1st and 15 at the 16. High formation behind Bledsoe. Marion Barber remains a setback. Bledsoe turns, gives it up the middle. Barber breaks the tackle, still on his feet, gets back to the original line of scrimmage where it'll be 2nd and 10 at the 11. I think the reverse that time. They brought Glenn around.
They ran that reverse last week in the same position on the field. Ran the same reverse for a touchdown.
It's a safe position to run it. That's where you should run it.
3 minutes to go in the first quarter. The Redskins lead at 7-0, but the Cowboys are threatening. 2nd and 10 at the Redskins 11.
Let me tell you, this coaching staff of Dallas is a fine coaching staff from Parcells all the way down. They know what they're doing.
Terry Glenn again is on the right side. Now Keyshawn Johnson in motion to the right. Marion Barber the setback. Bledsoe back to pass. Has time. Gets hit. Gets sacked. Marcus Washington on the sack. He's got 5.5 this year.
Yeah.
And he gives the referee a pat on the behind.
He jumped up in the official's face.
He almost jumped up in his arms.
Yeah.
You got to cut that stuff out. I mean, what's the purpose of doing that? I don't know.
He's excited, Sam.
Well, I
it's
know.
emotion.
Just show a little bit less. He got in clean. He came in clean and got the sack. Nobody blocked him.
Ball at the 15-yard line of the Redskins where it's a 3rd and 14 for the Cowboys.
All right, here's the key. Don't get him again.
Got to hold him out here. tight end, Dan Campbell. Now Bledsoe has to call a timeout.
Yeah.
Bledsoe.
Well, it's a good call.
Go
ahead.
We'll take the break as well with the Redskins leading 7-0. Cowboys knocking on the door. Back after this on the Free FM WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
Hey, folks, this is Sonny Jurgensen.
One of the most important.
Free FM.
That's all I have to say.
106.7 WJFK.
Okay, you've asked for it, you got it. With Chrysler's Miles of Freedom Plan, you'll get 2 years of scheduled maintenance, a 5-year, 60,000-mile mechanical limited warranty, and gas for 2 years. See your Chrysler dealer for details and limitations.
Big third down here for the Cowboys. 3rd and 14 at the Redskins' 15-yard line. The Skins lead at 7-0. 2:08 to play in the first quarter. Marion Barber's the setback. Third wide receiver is Creighton. Redskins look like they're going to come on the blitz. Here they come. Bledsoe back to pass. He's hit. He's sacked. And a flag on the play.
And probably holding, too.
Flag on the play as the floodgates open, and it was
a motion call again.
Yeah, Chris Clemens is the one that came in and made the
snap.
Motion.
False start.
No play.
Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
That's the right guard, Marco Rivera.
They're spreading it around, aren't they?
Yeah.
They really are.
Well, the 12th man, the noise in the stadium is too much for Dallas.
Yeah.
They're used to having it quiet in Texas Stadium.
Now ball marked at the 20 now, where it's a 3rd and 19. You almost would rather have had that sack.
Boy, Chris Clemens was really coming
Yes,
on
exactly.
that. Yeah.
3rd and 19 at the 20 now. Bledsoe under center. Center's Al Johnson. On 3rd and 19, he's back to pass. This time he has time. Dumps it over the middle. It's incomplete off the fingertips.
They wouldn't have had the first down.
Yeah, Keyshawn Johnson guarded by Marcus Washington.
He threw it behind him.
And that's going to bring in Billy Cuntiff, their field goal kicker, who is 4 of 5 so far this year. Was hurt earlier in the year. You might remember Jose Cortez was their kicker earlier.
Yeah.
Did he end up in Philly?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Philadelphia, the Giants won. He went to one of them. Nah, Feely's still up there.
Yeah, he's Feely's in New York.
Mark will come at the 28-yard line, a 38-yard field goal attempt.
Just got to be careful. Don't jump off sides in defense.
Holder is Tony Romo, the backup quarterback. From 38 yards out, the kick is up, and it is no good.
No good. He missed it.
No good. Wide to the right. And the Redskins had the Cowboys 1st and 10 at the 11, and they come away with no points. The Redskins lead at 7-0, 1:59 to go in the first quarter. This is Redskins Radio.
Be on the lookout.
The lone turnover of the first quarter in a touchdown pass. Brunel to Cooley, then hold the Cowboys scoreless after they had a 1st and 10 at the 11.
Yeah.
It's been a quick quarter, hasn't it?
Really has.
Well, the fans have played a big part in it.
Yes, they have.
This place is packed, and it is electric. 1st and 10 Redskins at their own 28. High formation behind Brunel. Robert Royal in motion to the right. And it's a play-action fake. Brunel has time. Looking. He's got to get rid of it. Fires. Has Robert Royal at the 30. It's incomplete. No. It's picked up by Portis. He got leveled.
Jacked up.
Whoa, did he ever?
Brady James dislodged the football, and Brunel was under some heat. He was lucky to get rid of that.
Yeah, he was. He just turned to see him at the last second.
I think Keith Davis separated him and the ball. Wow.
When Portis has an equipment problem, Ron Cartwright in for him. Portis adjusting his helmet right now. 2nd and 10 Redskins at their 28. Jimmy Ferris in as a 3rd wideout. Handoff to Ron Cartwright. Tough running up the middle. No place to go. And he gets stacked up. Thomas Johnson, a rookie from Middle Tennessee State, a 310-pounder, did a great job of plugging the middle that time.
Yeah, so you got 3rd down now. You don't want a turnover here. You got to protect your lead.
He got a gain of about a yard that time.
Don't talk about turnovers. He can throw the thing away if he has to.
Okay. Throw it away if you have to.
3rd and 8 Redskins at their own 30-yard line. Brunel from the shotgun gets the snap. Backpedaling, fires to his right, has Ron Cartwright at the 30, hit at the 35, and is going to be short of the 1st down by 3.
Yep. That's punt it away.
That's a 3 and out for the Skins, though. And that defense was on the field for a while there for that Cowboy drive.
Hey, the Cowboys are they're no pushover. Not that defense.
Patrick Creighton, the return man for Dallas.
The Cowboys have been raised on defense. The original coach there was Tom Landry. He taught defense.
Frost stands at his own 21. The snap from the red snapper and the punt. It's a high spiral, but it's short. Creighton's going to take the fair catch at the 27. Rock Cartwright breathing down his neck. Time out of the field with 39 seconds to go in the first quarter after a 36-yard punt by Frost. 7-0 Redskins the score. This is Redskins Radio.
I'm an elf, and trust me.
Subway 6-inch cold cut combo for just $2.69 on toasted bread piled high with all the fixins Subway Eat Fresh. Larry Michael with Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff. 7-0. The Redskins lead it. 39 seconds to go in the first quarter. Cowboys with it. 1st and 10 at their own 29.
Sam, I watched Marcus Washington during the timeout. He jumped the whole time, up and down.
Pitch right side, Julius Jones sweeping to the right, has a little bit of room, gets tripped up by Holdman and a couple of the other Redskins, but he gets up to the 34-yard line. Gain of 6 on first down.
They made 6 yards on his side that time.
He was still jumping.
Still jumping around.
He's got so much energy.
He does. He's a great guy and a great player.
He is.
2nd and 5, give him 5 on first down. From their own 34. 5 seconds to go in the quarter. Will they get the snap off here? Bledsoe, I formation behind him. Since Keyshawn Johnson in motion and he's not going to get the snap off, that's the end of the first quarter with the score of the Redskins 7 and a flag on the play.
2 gone.
No, the quarter round.
Flag came after the quarter.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
This is the end of the first quarter.
Thank you. 7-0 Redskins. Back after this on the Free FM WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
It's holiday shopping season, and that means the crowds, the parking, the return.
2 total yards to 51 for the Cowboys. 41 rushing, only 16 for the Cowboys. Brunell 3 of 6, 21 yards. Portis 6 carries, 36 yards, 6 yards a carry. Got to keep him in mind. Bledsoe 4 of 6, 39 and an interception.
2nd and 4 Cowboys from their own 35-yard line. I formation behind Bledsoe. The handoff up the middle to Julius Jones, and Ronaldo in the Golden Domer piles him up at the 35.
Boy, they didn't go for that fake reverse.
That's the 2nd time they've done that. They're going to give it to him. Yep, exactly right. Scoreboard brought to you by AdCom. Cincinnati leads Detroit 17-7. That game in the 2nd quarter.
You know who stepped up the last few games? Ronaldo Wynn, number 97. He has really stepped up his play, as has Cornelius Griffin, that's come back into the lineup.
3rd and 4 at the 35 for the Cowboys. Marion Barber, the lone setback behind Bledsoe. The Redskins come on the blitz. Here they come. Bledsoe has time. Looking. He's hit. Walt Harris has him for the sack. Walt Harris that time.
That was a cover sack.
Yep. Walt Harris got it. Looking. He's smiling. Walt Harris just smiling. I made a sack.
Well, according to Canosa, it's no sack, but it's as good as he got a yard on the run.
Don't listen to Canosa.
Come on, Canosa, you're killing our fun over here.
But that was a cover thing because he had plenty of time to deliver the ball.
Mark it down as a sack, John. Who knows but us?
Who cares?
Matt McBriar is the punter, averaging 37.3 net this year. Antonio Brown stands at his own 24. A little low rocket shot. Antonio's going to chase it down. He fumbles it. It's loose. Does he get it back? Inside the 25 of the Redskins, and he got it back.
Whoa, that was a line drive fumble.
Hard to handle, and he bobbled it, and luckily for the Redskins, he gets it back. Time out on the field with the Redskins leading 7-0. They'll have it 1st and 10.
Call 888-TOP-BANK or visit ProvBank.com today. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to the GMRI broadcast booth. Larry Michael with Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff. The Skins lead at 7-0. 1st and 10 Redskins at their own 25. Handoff to Portis up the middle. Hits the hole hard, but not a lot of running room there. Maybe a gain of 3, maybe 4 on first down.
Not bad.
No?
No. That's one of the first times he's run the middle.
Now, Portis had 30 yards on the first possession and has not touched the ball since.
Well, you got to be in there. They took it, they had Rock Cartwright in there for him.
Gain of 3 on first down for Clinton. 2nd and 7 at their own 28. Santana Moss is to the left. Pitch, left side. Clinton. Portis gets around the corner. Has room. 35 to the 40. Oh, pulled down from behind. And what happened to that rule on the horse collar tackle?
They don't call it, do they?
They don't call it, but that's a first down for the Redskins.
Well, you got to tackle
and Clinton's
him.
down. Clinton's down on the sideline.
That was Roy Williams that tackled him. 31. I mean, he's a heck of a football player, Roy Williams is.
He was the one they put the rule in for.
Yeah.
And Clinton Portis is down, and the medical staff is surrounding him on the sidelines. Might have hit his head on the ground as he was brought down by Roy Williams. Clinton, 8 carries, 58 yards. And into the game replacing him, it is Liddell Betts.
He fell on his shoulder, his left shoulder.
Brunell back to pass, fires, has a man, incomplete. Ball hits the ground, intended for Santana Moss to the right. And a lot of concern on the sideline for Clinton Portis, who is still down.
He might have separated his shoulder the way he went down on his left shoulder. But Roy Williams, you know, you can't.
Getting him up.
That was a
He's
tough.
He is a tough dude, I'll tell you what.
He is tough, but he fell right on the point of his left shoulder.
And one thing the Redskins have is they got a couple good backups in the running back position with Liddell Betts and Rock Cartwright. 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Betts is the setback behind Brunell. He gets the call. Sweeping around the left side, has blockers, and has room across the 45. He levels the man himself. He ran over one of the defenders.
And I'll tell you what, though, one of those defenders came over and really hit him, too.
It was a well-designed play because the motion went to the right. The Cowboy defense rotated that way. As they did, they came back running the other way and picked up a lot of yards.
Well, they must have said he stepped out of bounds. I don't know. What has happened here?
Well, Randy Thomas likes to hurt people. No doubt about that.
Boy, I tell you what.
He ran into the back of a guy.
He ran into the back of Terrence Newman and just knocked him over. And here come the chains, very close to a first down. Kerry Campbell down there giving us the signal. It's a first down, Redskins. Thank you, Kerry.
Well, it's a first down by a little more than the ball. But this is what you got to do. You got to run the ball as much as you can and then throw it when you have to. As far as I know, Sonny would throw the ball and then run when you have to, and I understand that.
One sets up the other.
Yes, it does.
1st and 10, Redskins, the Cowboy 43.
It's whichever one you do best.
And do it. And do it and keep the defense off the field.
Cooley split out as a wide receiver to the left now. The setback is Liddell Betts. 1st and 10 at the Cowboy 43. Brunell straight drop. Looking, fires, going for Santana Moss. Deep down the left sideline, and it's caught at the 1-yard line. Is he in?
They didn't give it to him.
They didn't give it to him to the 1-inch line. 1st and goal coming up, Skins.
I can't believe they didn't give it to him.
What a great throw by Mark Brunell.
Right on the money.
Great catch,
I think they might want to look at that and see whether he was in or not.
Well, I think he rolled in. Nobody touched him. That should be a touchdown.
Well, I think they ought to look at it.
I don't know. I would risk the timeout. I would risk losing the timeout here for the touchdown.
It was a touchdown. He rolled into the end zone.
I thought it was a touchdown.
1st and goal. Clinton Portis in the game.
The defender didn't take him down, and he rolled into the end zone.
Hand off Clinton Portis. Hit and stop for a loss of 1 on the play.
I can't believe Joe Gibbs didn't challenge that.
Loss of a yard on that play back to the 2-yard line. It looked like he slid in for the touchdown.
He slid in. Untouched.
I think they anticipate. You don't challenge something like that. I think they just feel like, okay, we got 1st and goal.
We're going to score anyway.
Yeah. And sometimes that backfires on you.
You got that right.
They lost a half yard there. 2nd and a long one. 2nd and goal. I formation behind Mark Brunell. Portis is a setback. Hand off again to Clinton. Stops. Reloads. Jumps up. He stopped at the 1-yard line.
They're finding that out now. Maybe they'd like to review it now, Sam.
Yeah, I agree.
Now they might have to throw the ball here at the 1-yard line. That's going to be tough. Santana Moss coming in.
They can throw in the flat.
Yeah, you got to run again.
They got Cooley in the flat if they want him.
They lost another half yard that time. Ball's almost to the 2 now.
Cooley or Sellers?
No, they're both in there, along with Santana Moss and Robert Royal. 3rd and goal at the 1. Cooley in motion to the left. Brunell with the call. A play action fake. Looking, has Cooley in the end zone. Fires. Touchdown. Touchdown Redskins. 2nd score of the game for Chris Cooley.
Cooley in the flat.
They can't stop it. I mean, he was wide open. Nobody even covered him.
Boy, he held that ball a long time. Cooley was open for a long time.
He was looking for him, yeah.
2 touchdowns for Chris Cooley in this game, and the Redskins extend their lead to 13-0.
Well, I'll tell you what, it worked out for him, but it could have backfired.
And John Hall for the conversion. The holder is Derek Frost. The kick is up. And it is solid. Redskins lead at 14-0. Scoring drive summary brought to you by DC Lottery in the brand new game, DC Daily 6. 8 plays, 75 yards. And the Redskins now lead at 14-0. 9:40 to go in the first half. Back after these words from Geico. This is Redskins Radio.
Your dog eats your new soap.
MRI broadcast booth. Larry Michael with Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff.
Let me remind you guys, week 2, Cowboys up 14-0. All right?
We need more.
I mean,
we need more.
Oh, yeah, you don't stop. Keep the pressure on.
13-0 they were up. That's right.
Big play, the 42-yard reception by Santana Moss to put it on the 1-yard line. The run up and the kickoff by John Hall. Thompson's going to take it on the move at the 12, 15, 20. Angling to the left, 25 to the 30. Kerry Campbell missed the tackle, still on his feet to the 40, and a flag on the play.
Might be pushing in the back.
Yes, of course.
Yep. That'll help the Redskins.
Yep.
No,
that was a short kick.
Got the return up to the 40-yard line, so we'll wait and see what the call is here.
During the return, holding, number 20, the return team. A 10-yard penalty. First down.
Either holding or pushing it back.
Everything going right for the Redskins.
Yes,
help the Redskins as they gain yards for youth. Pledge a specific amount of money for each offensive yard the team gains this season. Then choose from a pre-selected group which youth-based charity receives the donation. For more information, visit yardsforyouth.org.
Yards for Youth, huh?
Yeah. Ball at the 25, 1st and 10 Cowboys. Redskins defense has been in Bledsoe's face from the opening snap. Tight end Winton is in motion. Play action fake Bledsoe. Looking to his right. Fires. It's incomplete. He was going to his fullback out of the backfield. Polite.
I'll tell you, Sean Springs was right there on him, though.
He was on him.
Yeah.
And they got, just because of the hits that they've had on Bledsoe, he threw it a little quicker that time.
He did. That was the West Coast offense throw there.
He got rid of it a little quicker than he wanted to.
Well, he's got to feel that kind of pressure that's been coming at him.
High formation behind Bledsoe on 2nd and 10. 3 wide in the formation. Patrick Creighton is a 3rd wide receiver. He's a slot man on the right. Bledsoe, the delay give. Julius Jones looking to go left. Hit and drop. Flag on the play. Flag on the play from the backfield.
They'll take him back again.
Another hold that time potentially against Torrin Tucker, the left tackle. Threw it right at him.
Yeah.
It's either 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 20.
Might be 2nd and 20 if you want to take it.
So Dallas, it's their 5th penalty of the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be against them.
Greg Williams, boy, what a job he's done preparing this team for the Cowboys.
Holding. Offense number 77. The penalties decline.
Oh.
Makes
They're
it
going to go 3rd down.
So rather than the 10, they'll take the down. 3rd and 10 coming up for Dallas. Again, Torrin Tucker. That's the 2nd call on him.
Yeah, he was in motion earlier in the other drive, the other time they had the ball.
They were really hurt when they lost Flozell Adams at left tackle.
That big old guy. That guy is really big, Flozell Adams.
Marion Barber, the setback behind Bledsoe on 3rd and 9 at their own 26. Redskins have 6 men stacked up. Now they break it back. Bledsoe has Barber behind him. Back to pass. Looking over the middle. Gets it off. Barber the reception, and he is tackled right at the yardage marker by Lamar Marshall.
I don't think he made it.
That's a tough spot. They gave him the spot at the 35. Looks like a first down.
They gave him the 35. They gave it to him.
Yeah.
That was a gift.
Oh.
Bledsoe almost got sacked again that time. They're all over him.
Yeah, they're really rushed. Only 3 guys rushed that time.
Yeah, they got a hold of Griffin's jersey. You can't go nowhere when you're holding a jersey like that. But
yeah, well,
they were very fortunate to get a first down then.
Ball to the 35. Dallas with it. 1st and 10.
Looks like they should have taken a penalty, huh?
Yeah.
Redskins lead 14-0. 8:20 to go in the 2nd quarter. Bledsoe has Keyshawn Johnson to the right. Hands it off up the middle. Julius Jones hit by Marcus Washington, and not much room there. Maybe a gain of 2.
Well, they really stacked it up. Yeah, Marshall was in there.
They play the run so well.
Yep.
Cornelius Griffin, as always.
Holdman was on the bottom of that pile. In there on that tackle. John's guy. Holdman was on the bottom of the pile.
That's John's guy.
That's John's guy.
14-0 Redskins. 2nd and 8 at the 37. The Dallas 37 for the Cowboys. Bledsoe has 2 to the right. Terry Glenn and Keyshawn Johnson. The tight end went in motion in the backfield. And it's a quick screen pass to Johnson on the right. Keyshawn at the 40, taken down at the 43, short of the first down. Cedric Killings and Warwick Holdman on the stop.
Yeah, Holdman again. 2 times. I mean,
that's
a record.
It's the old Redskin play. Everybody runs that play.
Quick screen to the wideout.
There you go.
Terry Glenn returns on 3rd and 2 for the Cowboys at their own 43.
They made 3rd and 10.
Here you come with just a single blitz. The weak side linebacker this time come on the single blitz.
You got to expect the pass because they haven't been able to run for any.
Cowboys 3 of 5 on 3rd down. Bledsoe back to pass. He's got time, and there's flags everywhere.
Now he's got 3rd and long.
I mean, the Cowboys offense just racking up the penalties.
Offense number 77.
77 again. That's 3 penalties.
That's 3rd down.
That's 3 on Torrin Tucker. Boy, he's having a rough day so far. Gonna get rougher.
Tucker, they're going to know your name after a while.
Well, he's getting up early. I mean, he's working against Demetric Evans.
Yeah.
He's going to bring up a 3rd and 7 instead of a 3rd and 2.
Okay. This is it. Weak side blitz.
3rd and 7 from the 38. The running back is Barber. Bledsoe back to pass. Feeling heat, flushed, throws to the right, has the first down. No, it's incomplete. Terry Glenn couldn't hold on to the football. Who hit him?
Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor.
He had the first down, but he could not hold on.
Bledsoe could have run for the first down.
Yeah, but he would have had to face Sean Taylor.
Yeah, but he had open field in front of him.
But Glenn never really caught that football. It hit him in the hands, and Taylor finished him off.
You got it. He saw 21 coming at him.
Antonio Brown stands at his own 20-yard line, awaits the punt from Matt McBriar. There's the snap. And the punt from McBriar is a beautiful high spiral. Brown's going to take it at his 23. He's hit and stopped immediately. Boy, risky catch there by Antonio, but he held on.
He's got to use better judgment than that.
40-yard punt. And the Redskins will take over. A little skirmish there.
But he hung on to it.
14-0. Redskins leading the
new midday lineup on 3FM 106.7 WJFK.
Welcome back to FedEx Field. Larry Michael with Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff. 14-0. Redskins leading the Cowboys. McDonald's scoreboard. Cincinnati leads Detroit 24-7. And Cleveland and Oakland are scoreless. Those games in the second quarter. 1st and 10 Skins, ball at their own 22. Clinton Portis has returned. He's in the I formation behind Brunell. It's a handoff right up the middle to Clinton Portis, still driving across the 24 to the 25. Took a play out of the Cowboys book that time. They brought Moss around for a fake reverse.
Yeah, but Clinton Portis was coming right up the middle.
Everybody's a copycat.
Yeah. That's what Lombardi used to call that 21 quick trap. And you got to be able to run it.
Portis got 4 yards on that carry for the game. Clinton, 11 carries, 63 yards. Good start for Clinton Portis on the ground in the Skins. 5:45 to go in the first half. Skins with it. 2nd and 6 at their own 26. Cooley in motion to the right. Hand off to Portis again. Has room across the 30 to the 35. Still on his feet up to the 39. First down, Redskins.
It's good blocking.
Boy, he just squirted through that hole.
There's a great block in there by Mike Sellers, who running out of the I formation and things. He's blocking for him. And I'll tell you what, there was a block back to the weak side, too. Some good blocking in there.
Randy Thomas having a Pro Bowl year. I'll say run behind Randy. Look at him and Jansen on the replay. Huge hole.
That's great blocking and great running.
1st and 10 to the 39. Chris Cooley in motion to the left. Portis alone setback pitch. Left side Clinton looking for running room. A big stack up of humanity there right to the 40. Still driving ahead, and he gets a yard out of nothing. Chris
Samuels in there, left tackle, wasn't supposed to play. He was supposed to be hurt. But for the Dallas game, he healed real quick and he get out of the training room.
And he isn't 100%, but he's gutting it up.
Now, one of the starting corners, Terrence Newman, maybe their best corner, is on the sideline. I think he got knocked in the head that time. So he's on the sideline. 2nd and 9 for the Redskins. Brunell in the shotgun as Santana Moss in motion to the right. Gets the snap, fires over the middle. Oh, it's deflected by the defender, Santana. If he had caught that, he'd still be running.
Yeah, he may have scored on that.
I think the free safety, Keith Davis, got a piece of it over the middle.
No, Glenn.
He was...
Aaron Glenn?
Santana wanted wanted an illegal touch.
Yeah, Terran Glenn was holding him up. And then I think he got a hand on the ball. He got that ball out in front of him.
Clock stops with 4:22 to go in the half. 3rd and 9 situation for the Skins.
He's a big play.
Brunell in the shotgun. Jimmy Ferrison, a wide receiver to the left. Brunell gets the snap. Pump fake, spins. It's a screen pass to Cooley. Flag on the play. Cooley's got room and a blocker across the 45 into Cowboy territory. But this is coming back.
Oh, I think our friend Derek Dockery was downfield.
Oh, it's against the Cowboys. How about
defensive holding.
I think the offense thought it was against them too.
Yes, they did.
I think Dockery was down the field on the screen pass.
Well, the ball is going to be marked at the Cowboy 42, and that beats any penalty, I think, unless it gets tacked on. And the referees are going to discuss it with Mark Brunell.
Holding. Defense number 97. A penalty decline. The play results in a first down.
It's Leroy Glover.
Leroy Glover, yes. The veteran, 10-year man out of San Diego State.
Boy, he's a good football player, too. They got him from the New Orleans Saints.
5-time Pro Bowler. And he was holding Derek Dockery, I guess. I don't know what was happening there, but the Redskins get a big play from Chris Cooley.
He was holding an offensive guard.
Why would he be holding in there?
I don't know.
Liddell Betts a setback. 1st and 10 of the Cowboy 41. A reverse to Santana Moss going to the right side. Has blockers. Cuts it up and tripped up. You know, he's too fast for his blockers.
He ran by him.
Too fast. Or gain of 2 on that play.
I tell you, he can move, can he?
Glover may have been holding because the offensive lineman was trying to get out in front of the screen.
Yeah.
And he grabbed him.
He was really holding Casey Raybach, the center.
Clock continues to roll. 3.5 to go. A fine first half for the Redskins. They lead 14-0. Back in the Cowboys, 177-70. Brunell rolling, and he's going to throw it. Almost intercepted. Oh, man. What happened there, Sonny?
He just tripped. He got tripped on one of those linemen coming out. Sometimes you get your feet mixed up with them.
Marcus Ware almost picked it off.
Ferguson, that big old tackle, I think was the one that tripped him or something. I don't know. He almost went down.
3rd and 7 from the Cowboy 38-yard line for Brunell and the Redskins. Since Taylor Jacobs to the left, Santana Moss to the right. Setbacks Liddell Betts. Brunell in the shotgun. From the Cowboy 38-yard line. Gets the snap. Has heat from the outside. Fires, and it's behind Santana Moss, incomplete.
Yeah, bad throw. Had it behind him.
And the Redskins will punt it away from the Cowboy 38-yard line, playing the battle of field position right now. And they've been winning that battle of field position.
Yes, they have.
The Marcus Ware, number 94, the rookie, was coming in there, and Samuels was trying to block him, but he got in the face of Mark Brunell.
This is where I wish he'd fake it.
Patrick Creighton deep to receive the punt from Frost, which is sky high. Ferris is down there. It's going to hit, and it's going to bounce the wrong way. Cowboy bounce back from the 10 up to the 13.
That's all right.
And that's where they're going to down it.
No problem.
The Redskins had that covered nicely, but a bad bounce. Time out on the field. The Skins lead at 14-0. 3:01 to play in the first half. Back after these words from Wachovia. This is Redskins Radio.
You'll get 2 years of scheduled maintenance, a 5-year or 60,000-mile mechanical limited warranty, and gas for 2 years. See your Jeep dealer for details and limitations.
Crowd on their feet. 1st and 10 Cowboys. Hand off to Julius Jones from their own 13-yard line. Has room to the left and hit and drop down by Ryan Clark. Flag in the backfield at the 10-yard line.
Another flag.
Another motion penalty, I think.
Another one against the Cowboys.
Oh, John says holding.
Yeah.
Is that their 7th offensive penalty?
Yeah, another offensive penalty. I think probably against 77 Tucker. I don't know. We'll see.
Holding. Offense number 62.
Oh, 62 this time.
It's the second on him.
Oh, that's the guard.
First down.
Marco Rivera, 3-time Pro Bowler, free agent, but that's his second call.
But now you know how he got to the Pro Bowl.
He held a lot.
He was holding a lot.
Unreal, a number of penalties they've had.
Man.
Well,
they don't give themselves a chance, do they?
No, everything's going the Redskins' way in the first half, that's for sure.
Hey, this crowd is giving the Redskins a big chance.
Ball marked at the 5-yard line.
They're into this game.
Now they mismarked it. They're bringing it out to the 6 now. 6.5. It was a half the distance call. Bledsoe brings them to the line. 1st and 16 at their own 7-yard line. In motion to the tight end Witten. The pitch right side to Julius Jones. Across the 5, Sean Springs comes up and blows that play up at the 9-yard line.
Oh, that was really, he took out the Witten. He just took him down. John Springs took him down, left the runner wide open all by himself.
Remember, you don't have to wait for Sundays to get your dose of the Redskins. Check out the Redskins notebook every day in the Washington Post sports section.
Are you comfortable, Sonny?
2nd and 13.
Look, he just laid back broadcasting this game.
I love it.
Yeah. Everything's going right.
There you go.
2nd and 13 from their own 10-yard line.
2 minutes.
2-minute warning. The Cowboys couldn't even tell because of the noise. 14-0. Redskins leading the Cowboys at the 2-minute warning here in the first half. This is Redskins Radio.
There's someone behind the scenes always looking out for your best interest. People with
2-minute warning. The Redskins lead at 14-0 here in the first half. Ball marked at the Cowboy 10. 2nd and 13.
Turnover would be very big right here.
It would be ginormous.
It would be another score.
Yes.
Julius Jones a setback behind Drew Bledsoe, who's been harassed all game so far by the Redskins. Tight end Witten is in motion to the right. Bledsoe with the play action fake. Steps up, looking, fires to his left, has the man off the hands of Julius Jones, incomplete.
Julius, you can't run without the what? Without the ball.
And Bledsoe just got rid of that.
Yeah, Julius Jones just dropped it. It was right in his hands.
Redskins are getting pressure rushing 3. How's that happening?
Well, they're getting off the ball.
Getting off the ball.
Yeah.
You got a backup tackle playing on the left side in Tucker.
He's shell-shocked.
And I'll tell you what.
And he is shell-shocked.
Hey, let me tell you what. Cornelius Griffiths makes a big difference in that front line.
3rd and 13 for the Cowboys from their own 10-yard line. Redskins have 6 DBs in the game. 4-man rush. Bledsoe back to pass. He's got time this time. Throws deep over the middle. It is almost picked off by Sean Taylor. Boy, he was zeroed in on Terry Glenn. He wanted to decapitate him.
Yeah, he would,
and
too.
He's still talking to him.
I'll tell you what. He is some kind of football player.
But if he's looking for the ball, he gets the pick.
Yeah, he's a Pro Bowl player. I'll tell you that.
He'd really rather hit than pick.
Yeah.
Right?
That man, he makes a difference in the secondary. Cornelius Griffith makes a difference up front.
Antonio Brown time.
Yep. Bunny from his own end zone. Matt McBride. There's still 1:50 to go on the half.
You got to hold him up and give him a chance to field it.
Bad kick.
Bad short kick, and Brown's going to let it bounce. It takes a Redskin bounce backward to the 33 of Dallas. Unbelievable.
Yep.
A 23-yard punt.
Everything's going the Redskin way the first half.
Yeah, Barcells looks like he's going to be sick over there. You better loosen that belt, buddy. The Redskins have it 1st and 10 at the Cowboy 34-yard line. Man, you got to get a touchdown here.
Yeah, they got plenty of time.
Redskins proudly sponsored by the Home Depot. Visit the Home Depot this week to enter a chance to win a $30,000 Home Depot shopping spree. You can do it. We can help.
Yeah, I like that.
Ball 34 of Dallas. 1st and 10 Redskins. The Skins have all 3 timeouts remaining. Portis the setback. Brunell in the shotgun formation. Now waves Cooley in tight and sends Moss in motion to the right. Brunell to screen pass to Santana. Breaks the tackle to 30. To the 25-20. Still on his feet. Drive from behind. Stays on his feet. Inside the 5 to the 4.
Oh, right down the sideline.
How did he break that tackle?
Santana Moss with speed. That's how he broke it.
The defender went for the interception on the quick screen to the wideout. Missed it, and it just opened everything up
for Santana Moss.
Man, he is quick.
What an addition he has made to this football team.
Getting some big yardage here.
He's a little guy, but he's mighty.
That's a career high for receptions for Santana Moss with that catch. 76 for the season. First and goal, Redskins at the 3-yard line. On formation behind Brunell. Portis the setback. Play action fake. Brunell has Mike Sellers at the 2-yard line. He's going to walk in for a touchdown, Redskins.
Nobody covered him. Woo! What a day. What a half.
He throws the ball in the stands.
Touchdown number 6 for Mike Sellers this year. And the score now, Redskins 20, Cowboys nothing.
Oh, that was great. First down.
What a first half.
Scoring drive summary brought to you by the DC Lottery and the brand new game DC Daily 6. 2 plays, 34 yards, and the Redskins extend the lead. Or Santana Moss set up 2 touchdowns. The conversion for John Hall is up. 21-0 Redskins.
How quick was that?
Man, oh man. Are these people happy? They ought to be.
Dominating first half for the Redskins on both.
And then he said, we play at home for a couple of weeks, and that's going to make a difference.
Well, these folks with their earphones on and listen to us, they're saying, hey, we're with you guys. Just keep it up. As long as they keep making noise, we're with them.
I mean, you get the ball at the 33-yard line. The opponent's 33. You got to figure, this is your day. Every bounce.
Everything that's been in their favor.
There's an old Redskin sitting down here in front of us, Carl Kammer, and I'm sure he's very happy with the way things are going for the Redskins.
Santana Moss, 2 catches, 73 yards.
Is that unbelievable?
Not bad for his average.
Yeah.
The Redskins going to kick it off here now. John Hall has it teed up, and it is Terrence Cooper along with Tyson Thompson deep to receive the kick. Now, John Hall's last kickoff wasn't very good. See if he can get some foot into this one. The run up and the kick. A little bit better, but it's going to be short. Thompson's going to take it at his 11. Up the middle, 10-15 to the 20. Hit from behind and grabbed by Robert McCune, who can't bring him down. The Redskins gang tackle him at the 30. So with 1:16 left in the first half, the Cowboys have it 1st and 10 at their own 30-yard line.
And after the game, hopefully.
Only people that aren't happy are Cowboy fans.
I don't see many of them here tonight.
Bledsoe back to pass on 1st down. Steps up, fires over the middle, has the tight end Witten at the 45 to the Redskins' 40-yard line. That's the biggest play of the day for the Cowboys.
Hey, that's the guy you got to be careful of. He's a heck of a tight end, and they just let him run free. Nobody on him that time.
1 minute and counting. Cowboys 1st and 10 at the Redskins' 40-yard line. Bledsoe back to pass again. Going deep. Down the right sideline. Looking for Terry Glenn. Sean Springs there. Almost intercepted. That ball thrown to the outside. Incomplete.
Great coverage by Sean.
He had it on the wrong side of him. He should have thrown it inside, but you never know when you release that ball whether or not it's going to drift or not.
If he would have thrown it inside, I think Sean Springs would have had the interception. Looked like it to me.
Glenn would have caught it.
Yeah, one or the other.
Sean was on him. Right now, the Cowboys face a 2nd and 10 at the Redskins' 40. 48 seconds to play in the first half.
Well, you got to cover Witten again on this play. You can't let him run free.
Creighton and Terry Glenn to the right. Keyshawn Johnson to the left. Bledsoe back to pass. It's a screen pass left side. Julius Jones has room to the 30. Down to the 28-yard line, where he's knocked out of bounds inside the 25.
Yeah, you can't let him go out there free, but, that screen pass works against the blitz.
That was a good call.
Good call. Great call.
Ball marked at the Redskins' 25. Gary Campbell out there, and excuse me, it was Chris Clemens.
And he got caught inside. You can't let the play get outside of you. You got to turn it back. You have nobody out there.
40 seconds to go. The Cowboys with 2 timeouts remaining. 1st and 10 at the Redskins 25. Bledsoe sends Keyshawn Johnson in motion to the right. Julius Jones at the setback. Pump fake by Bledsoe. Dumps it over the middle. It's intercepted by Marcus Washington. And he's got room to the 30, to the 40. Can he go to the 45, to the Cowboy 37-yard line?
There's a flag down.
Flag at the line of scrimmage.
We'll see what it is.
There's a flag down, guys.
At the line of scrimmage. Cornelius Griffith standing down there beside the man with the stripes.
Prior to the interception, tripping, number 73 of the offense.
On the Cowboys.
Penalties decline.
Yep.
First down.
77 again.
You knew it was going to go against them, didn't you?
Torrin Tucker, 77, and that's his 4th penalty against Tucker.
That's the 2nd turnover of the game. 2 interceptions, one by Cornelius Griffin, this one by Marcus Washington.
They got a chance for another touchdown.
Or field goal, maybe.
That ball's the Cowboy 38. The Skins have 3 timeouts remaining. You got to get more.
29 seconds on the clock.
Plenty of time. And 3 timeouts left. Lamar Marshall there with the deflection. He helped on that play for the interception by Marcus Washington. Yeah. He was smiling as he was running upfield. Liddell Betts is the setback. Chris Cooley in motion from the Cowboy 38-yard line. Brunell fires a screen to Cooley on the left side. Across the 35 to the 30. And the Redskins call a timeout with 21 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they're almost in field goal range, aren't they?
Yeah, very close right now at the 30-yard line.
That play doesn't look the same when they throw it to Cooley instead of Moss.
It doesn't. Now, you know, Redskin touchdown here, man. That'd be huge.
It's already huge.
21-0. 21-0. I want more.
Our status guy, John, wants to leave because he says Gibbs is 102 wins to 27 when they score first. So, my goodness, okay. What are we waiting for? Let's leave.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the locker room.
Yeah.
Liddell Betts a setback on 2nd and 2 at the Cowboy 30-yard line. Liddell back to pass. Fires left. Cooley again, wide open. Inside the 20. Still on his feet to the 15. On his feet. He's on his feet. He's in. He's in. Touchdown. Touchdown, Redskins. Touchdown, Chris Cooley. Making 3 tackles all the way.
Oh.
And his 3rd touchdown.
I think John Canosa was right after he handed me that stat. Put up 6 points, probably 7.
It was a simple out pattern. You don't expect to get a touchdown out of that. Just an out pattern, and he broke tackles.
A missed tackle.
He just squares out.
He come back
5 yards. Guy misplayed it. He runs over a guy and goes in for a touchdown.
The conversion by John Hall. A monumental first half for the Redskins. They lead the Cowboys 28-0 with 12 seconds to go.
I like it. I like it.
This is great.
This is great. Scoring drive summary brought to you by DC Lottery and the brand new game, DC Daily 6. 2 plays, 38 yards. They have two.
Hey, let's get on the bus and leave is what he's thinking.
Let's get ready for Carolina. They got Carolina next week.
28-0. Who would have thought that?
Not me.
I don't think anybody would have thought the Redskins would bust it open in the first half like this.
Hey, it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
Sam, come on.
The first half is almost over.
First half is almost over.
I remember the Redskins were way ahead of a game here, and then the last play of the game completed a 55-yard pass for the touchdown to win it. You know, and the Redskins were way ahead.
Yeah, the Giants had the ball at the Redskins 25 with a minute 30 left, and the Skins end up scoring.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
You gotta like it. You gotta love it.
All right, Hall is going to get leg weary here. Another kickoff for John Hall. Terrence Cooper and Tyson Thompson are deep to receive the kickoff.
Don't kick it deep, just kick it off. There you go. That's a way to do it.
Low squib kick through one of the men's hands. Now Thompson picks it up at the 20 to the 25. Piles into the pile, still on his feet, and taken down at the 35-yard line by Kerry Campbell, the team's leading special teams tackler.
6 seconds left on the clock.
Kneel down.
Parcell has his headphones off. He's folded up the tent for the first half.
He said, I've had enough. Let's go to the locker room and talk this thing over, guys.
This may be the worst half of football the Cowboys have played all year, and the best half of the Redskins.
They've gone at them. The Redskins have really, on both sides of the ball, have really been.
And Bledsoe takes a knee.
Yeah. He's going to be out of here.
Halftime is upon us here at FedEx Field. And the score at the break, the Redskins 28, the Cowboys nothing. Back with our halftime show on the 3FM WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
This is Sonny Joe.
Operations. Logic says neither is doubtful to happen. Wayne Gretzky's taken an indefinite leave of absence from coaching the Phoenix Coyotes. Gone home to Ontario to be with his